few years, I started playing Overwatch very casually. I
Yeah.
just stumbled upon it by accident,
Mm-hmm.
and I played a lot of mystery heroes. I enjoyed the game, a lot of quick play,
Yep.
and I got into comp a little bit later, by I think 2018, I'd say.
Okay.
Um, I was playing like maybe 4 games, 3 games a day, and during the pandemic, I decided to take it a little seriously and really see what well, the best I could do is.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a little bit of coaching. I was a very blame my teammates kind of guy, to
Weren't
be
we all?
honest. Yeah. And I think my coaching session was more like a therapy session more than like positioning and mechanics and all that stuff
Mm-hmm.
on how my team is usually not the problem. So and it helped a lot. And I was used to hang out in SR, which looked like years we might be familiar with, like 1776 and 1812 and 2003 and all that stuff.
Yeah, I
And
remember this.
all I really wanted was to get to plat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I made it diamond, and I was kind of happy with that.
Nice.
Um, so
Was
I
this on
hung
tank?
out at no, this was on support.
Ah,
I played
ah.
a lot of I played a lot of Ana, a lot of Moira, and I felt like that suited my pace of game a little bit better. There wasn't a lot of dive in Plat, in Diamond. I could just sit back, get a wider view of the game,
Yeah.
and you know, kind of mm, the wider view suited me better. And I think I mentioned in my forum as well, I'm 41. So for me, it was like, okay, I can see everyone and I can take care of my kids almost. I Yeah,
Yeah, I
okay,
got you.
I need to
I got
sleep
you.
that I need to sleep that noon, I need to need that brine and all of that stuff. So I was but when I switched over to Overwatch 2, I felt like support didn't have as much of an impactful. I might have been wrong there because I kind of corrected that. But I switched over to tank because I felt like I couldn't carry on support as much as I
Sure.
could on other roles.
Sure.
And having taken care of thousands of Rhines and Winstons and Ramattras and all that stuff, I was like, I can do this. So so I started playing tank and I leveled up a little bit, but I seem to have plateaued at around mid plat.
Mm.
And that is where I find I just keep going up and down to like a few hundred SR here, a few hundred SR there.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen a lot of your videos before this coaching session, so I'm already kind of aware of a few things. Just to get this out there, my mechanics aren't great. I'm on console anyway,
Yep.
but I know basics like the value of high ground, the value of not shooting tanks, stuff like that.
Okay.
So I'm already aware of that. And perhaps in my code, you can even see me like switch off of, I'm not sure if it'll happen or not, you can like see a switch go off, like don't shoot the tank, ding, ding, ding. So I was going,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah. I got you. I got you. Okay, okay, yeah. I mean, obviously, the hardest part is always the implementation of that knowledge. Otherwise, I'd be top 500 in all roles, which I'm not. So that's always a challenge, is actually transitioning that knowledge into skills. So it sounds like you have a solid foundation of understanding the game. Like you said, that whole therapy session and coaching session back in the day about just taking responsibility for yourself. Now, the transitioning to tank, obviously, you talked about the reasoning behind that, but how has that been going just for your general enjoyment of the game since you've made that transition? Do you like the Ramattra ball Ryan that I'm seeing in your form?
Um, I do and I don't. Also, I just want to put this out there.
Sure.
Since I started watching your videos, there was some when Overwatch 2 launched, there was a lot of like some SR just dropped out of nowhere, and my plat support went down to like low silver, and I was
Which
very
season was
frustrated
this?
playing. This was like season 1 when Overwatch 2
I
launched or
I,
something. There was
I
like some
did you see? Have you ever heard of Samito? He's a
sorry.
big, like. Have you ever heard of Samito? He's like some big
Yeah,
GM
yeah, of
streamer
course.
guy.
Yeah,
He placed
yeah.
gold on support in season one, and I placed
Mm.
gold on all roles in season one of support, even though I was at least diamond or masters. Now I don't know what was going on in season one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah. So I was very frustrated trying to play my plat game in silver, and it
Yeah.
didn't seem to be working out. I was heal botting a lot, and nothing really happened. However, I just want to put this out there: my support went up by like a few hundred SR as
Yeah,
well,
yeah, yeah.
just by your Ana VODs and
Oh,
how,
well, good.
you know, deleting a squishy equals a lot less pressure from my tank and all that stuff.
Right, right, right. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
So
Okay.
that's going better as well.
So tank though. So because you've
Yes.
bit the bullet, you've transitioned over. You said it's been kind of hit or miss in terms of enjoyment.
Yeah. I've I do like playing the brawlier tanks more. Ball is what I normally switch to when nothing else is working, when I'm not getting support or heals or whatever. And that is again hit or miss, but I think the code I sent you is Rhine and Ram bolt.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. Ryan Ramball when nothing else works. Training time right now is about 2 hours per day. Is that all ranked, or is that a mixture?
Usually yes.
Okay, makes
Usually
sense.
yes. So if I'm gonna play something like support, if I'm gonna play Ana, I will warm up in the training range, what's it called, Baxter, for a
Yeah,
little while,
yeah,
for
yeah,
like
yeah.
5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then I'll jump into comp.
Sure.
But when I'm playing brawlier heroes, I usually don't warm up and just jump straight in.
Works for me. Works for me. I will say that if you could warm up for 5 minutes, I wouldn't be against it necessarily, even on Brawl Your Heroes, because you still have to get your brain involved in, like, I'm killing people. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
makes sense.
So, like, you're either going to warm up in the first 5 minutes of a ranked game or the first 5 minutes of a Vaxter or an arcade deathmatch. So, however you want to handle that is fine. Like, even just getting in there and beating people with your hammer and Vaxter, hitting a couple of fire strikes isn't too bad.
Makes sense.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
mean, overall training structure seems fine. Do you take breaks between games?
Yes, my training structure says 2 hours, but that's usually divided into an hour in the morning ish. I'm not a nine to fiver, and about an hour in the evening.
Ah,
So
ah,
yeah, so
that's
I do
unusual.
tend to split that up.
How does that
Yeah.
work for you generally?
I find that I start losing focus after like 3 or 4 games, so I just switch off right there.
Okay, okay. And how do your evening games go?
Um, I'm not sure, but I feel like the morning games are easier. I think I'm not sure there might be a change in the player base or something, but I feel like they go better in the morning.
Okay,
Perhaps that has to
I
do
mean,
with
it makes
focus.
sense. You have a little bit more energy, right? Later in the day, you're a
Hmm.
little bit more tired. So even though you have that like mental break, maybe you're still a little bit more fatigued at the end. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I think that's a reasonable way of approaching it. Do 3 games, take a break, come back at it 3 games later in the day. I think at least for your goals, which are I mean, what would it be rank wise? Just diamond per tank?
I'd love to just, yeah, I'd love to be hanging out in mid diamond comfortably.
Sure, sure.
Like
I think with your
always
trainings
good.
right now, it's possible. Definitely possible. If we just were to slap a
Also, I want
number
to
on
put
it.
this out there, by the way, I have like 10 years of MMA experience under my belt,
Really?
and I play guitar professionally
That
at the Euro acoustic in
really?
the background
Okay.
all the time.
You
And
have
I
to when the session is over, send me some links to some of your music or something, or even just you beating on a
sure,
bag. I would love to see it.
I
I'll
can
have to show my
I
wife.
can do that.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
would be
yeah, yeah, I
sick.
can
That would
do
be
that.
sick. Okay, cool, cool, cool. But yeah, a training structure wise seems fine. I don't think it's there's any problems with that. Certainly with your goals. Maybe your hero pool is a little broad for only 2 hours per day, but honestly, even that is probably fine. You're only playing 3 tanks. I don't think it's that bad. Long-term, short-term goals to get to a point where I have a capable teammates who don't feed, go in 1v5, and generally have good competitive games, even if I lose. Yeah, so I think the idea is that because there's the human element in Overwatch, there will always be bad games from either you or your teammates. It's an or the enemy
Sure,
team, right? So it's
for
unavoidable.
sure.
I do think that as you climb in the ranks, that the percentage of really truly bad games does diminish because people have less connectivity issues. People who boom really
Hmm.
hard tend to be stuck in lower ranks as a result of that attitude. So in my experience, climbing up in ranks definitely increased the quality of games, just not by a lot. So I think what I would be like, okay, I want to increase the quality of games by improving myself, but don't expect like Dorothy coming out of the Wizard of Oz and everything's all in
Yeah,
color
yeah,
and
yeah.
beautiful. It's going to be
Sure,
slight, talking like
sure.
1%, two
I'll
percent
take
of
it.
games, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll take it.
yeah. Okay. What do you feel? Something back from improving mechanics for sure. you're on console, you say, but honestly, like, console's relative, right? Like, the only time I would say,
Yeah.
ironically, that mechanics are going to hold you back on consoles when you get to around Grandmaster top 500, but that's because
Mm.
mechanics, but that's not even your fault, because that's when we're going to start running the Zimmers and stuff, right? You've heard of
Yeah.
Zimmers, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that your rank, I don't think mechanics being a big problem is going to be an issue. It's like, it's always relative, right? So, but I'm not sure what's holding me back other than that. Okay, so you talked a little bit about like how you have you've been working on your base understanding of the game a little bit. So I think it will be more about like, okay, like kind of comparing your knowledge to like what you're actually able to do with that knowledge in game. Um,
Yeah, so
yeah,
like the form says I don't really know what I need work on, so I
Mhm.
feel like this almost needs to be like a diagnostic session. I'm
Sure.
hoping that you can tell
Yeah.
me what I can work on.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. Okay, sleep looks pretty good, especially for a guy your age. I mean, I'm approaching that age myself, so you're slowly starting to realize that like I don't need 44 hours of sleep, but I can't be sleeping 6 hours, so 7 isn't too shabby. Um, okay,
That's all I need.
yeah, I don't really see anything else in your form that really stands out to me. Do you have any other questions?
Not that I can think of right now.
Okay, well let me get my stream started here, and do you want to shoot me over your replay code?
Yes, hang on. I did put it down in um your Discord. Just hang on a second.
Oh, you put it in the replay code thing. Yeah. I got it. I got it.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. Antarctic Peninsula, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you dad sneezes?
Yes, I am.
That's great. All right. Is this all Reinhardt, or is there a couple of heroes in here?
No, I'm gonna switch over to Ramattra, I think halfway through the second round or
I
something.
see that. Okay, so a little bit of Ram, a little bit of Ryan works for me. Okay, so I guess we'll just do a really, really simple. First off, can you see stream all right through Discord?
Yep.
Okay,
Perfect.
perfect. Okay, so we'll just make this really simple. Like, what's the difference between? Okay, here's a good question for you. What's Ryan good at? What's Ram good at? What are the major differences between the two? Might be a little bit of a good
Um,
crash course.
I'd say Ryan's good at swinging his hammer,
Yeah.
being a threat to squishies, and
Yeah.
shielding himself when need be. And
Yeah.
of course, since this is an Overwatch 1, I don't need to stand there shielding my team.
Right.
Hopefully, they get it too. Ramatra, on the other hand, is good at poking and brawling. So
Sure.
I find that he's a little bit more. I have to pay more attention to my resources when playing Ramatra.
Yeah.
Not to go in without cooldowns, and kind of like comboing abilities in the sense that I want to like use my vortex or whatever it's called, and
Mm-hmm.
then be slowing them down, squishies down, and then going in punching their face off
Yeah. Pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah. I mean,
or something
exactly.
along those
That's
lines.
it. Exactly. Yeah. I think the other big, the only key difference that you haven't highlighted that I would point out, which might be worth pointing out, is I think it's the mobility aspect, where Ram has like that consistent slow creeping mobility through his Nemesis form, right? Like you get that extra movement speed. It is a really big deal, right? I remember before he had that movement speed on initial launch, and he was terrible, right? He couldn't reach anything, right?
Mm.
And then I
Yeah,
also
you need
remember,
a Lucio.
yeah, exactly. And you also remember
Mm.
Overwatch 1 Ryan without the charge cancel, with charge on a longer
Yeah,
cooldown, without being able to control charge. So I'd say is Ryan is like that super mobility. When you need it, it's on a cooldown, but man, you could get from point A to point B anywhere on the map, right?
sure. Yeah,
Ram,
absolutely.
not as much, but it's
Not so much.
consistently there for a long time, right? So it's like
Yeah.
I think if you like look at the enemy composition, I think you're like thinking initially, all right, well, I can't really, there's not going to be really anybody to pin across the map to kill necessarily on Team Red at the top right. So I
Yeah.
think Ram's mobility might be more useful, right? A little bit
Mm.
more consistent. I don't necessarily need to be pinning like crazy. But at the same time, if you look at like Ram as a poke weapon, how useful is the poke weapon going to be versus their composition where there's not like a lot to poke as much? So there's always like a little bit of nuance in there. But yeah,
Yeah.
like you said, Ryan, hit people with hammer. Shield mostly, like you said, almost all for yourself. I think Bastion is a tricky one. I think if you get the opportunity to shield Bastion, do it. He's a great way to win tank trades right off the bat. So if you see turret
Hmm.
form, shield bot him, and then afterwards go play for yourself. I think there's always nuance with that. But yeah, okay, let's take a look.
Yeah.
This isn't bad. I don't think it's necessary to roll out high on this map, but it's fine. Like, and by high I mean here. I think you can just cut it straight to here, but it's
Also,
not.
by now, I didn't. It's too early in the map to see what comp the enemy team is running. But by now, I would have figured it out. But before that, I wouldn't have.
Right, right. So I guess this is where it's like, okay, who do I want to swing on? Do I want to drop the point and swing on Zarya Mei? Not the worst thing in the history of the world. Do I want to pressure these guys over here? Can I swing on them? Not the worst thing in the world. Obviously, if these guys drop, you can light them up, right? But if they don't drop and they stay inaccessible, is it worth your time to go for them? I don't really know. It's tricky. So let's just see what we see here. There's no rush. Nice fire strike so far. They've looked really good. And now this is really important, in my opinion. This is the moment of truth, because when we talked about who to swing on, these guys were the optimal ones, but they were too far away, right? It would have been awkward. Even if you pin here, you have to kind of make the jump, and then you can get knocked back. It's rough. But then here, do you see how you have really two options that are basically equally accessible, right? You have Zarya and you have Mei. Now, you probably can already tell where I'm going with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the person that you should prioritize swinging on here?
Probably me.
Exactly.
She's a squishier target.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She's a squishier target. It's not just because she's squishier, but also because she's more risky. She's more annoying. If you force ice block, big value. Big value, right? Because now all of a sudden she's killable. She has to play a little bit more careful. If she doesn't play more careful, she might die. So because you're on top of them, because your positioning is really good, like I love this positioning from high ground here, you could just drop on her, force her ice block immediately, and then go swing on Zarya. But I could tell by your body language that you're focusing tank first. Now, there's a reason why you focus tank first sometimes as Ryan, right? Let's say you're here. Would you swing on Zarya or would you swing on Mei if you were over here?
Probably Zarya, because she's the only one I can reach.
Right, she's the closest one. The same kind of logic where we talked about we love to swing here, but I don't know if we can. But here you have options. So when you have options, take the better option. And I think this is fine, like great pin. You're actually going to combo that with your Bastion Turret Form, so I love it. But honestly, I think that Zarya dies even without the pin, right? And I think at this point in time, still swinging on Mei would have been better. But whatever, we take what we get.
I think it just wanted to rescue the Echo who was in trouble.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. Good fire strike. And then here, you can honestly just pin, yeah. Fire strikes have looked pretty good so far, by the way. Not too shabby for crappy mechanics, yeah? Not too bad. Go get him. Go get him. Aw, that's unfortunate. Like, when these in these devolved fights, if you see an opportunity, if you see somebody isolated, just go. Just like you went on that Iliari, you're like, just go right in this guy. Alright, let's see it. Come on. Snipe him. Good stuff with playing your life here. This is smart. Oh, you almost got that turret. Sorry.
I don't know if I'm going to make it out alive.
Yeah, you did a good job. I think the only thing I would have said is just give up space a little bit faster. So this feels really bad. And you're like, what's going on? I thought we were winning this fight. Well, this is why. You know, this is really the problem here. You won the fight, but then your Ashe died really, really late, or whoever she was on earlier. So then now, technically, this is like a 4v5, right? So this is why it feels bad. You should have killed the junk faster earlier. You didn't. So now you have no health. Honestly, I don't even know that I'd throw a fire strike here. Like, I think I'd just back up, find cover, get healed, right? Yeah. The good news is that you don't die. You don't play it as safe as you should have, but you don't die. Orisa overextends trying to kill you. Now you're even. Fat fire strike again. Again, I'm begging you not to peek this, right? Like, find cover, find shield. Even if you have to give up, like, over here, or give up point, even you need to not be somebody that's going to die, right? See, like, this pin is in theory fine, but you just don't have the HP for it, right? You need to just chill a little bit longer, wait just until you're like 450, 500 HP, then go for your pin on Iliari, or go swing on this Junkrat, right? You don't earn this right here. And that's it, right? So what I would say so far, your play style, obviously too early to say, has looked okay, right? Threatening people, swinging your hammer, your fire strikes have been good, your pins have been good, but You got to play around your HP. It's a lot like Tracer, right? Everybody knows that Tracer wants to go 1v1 people, but if you don't have the resources for it, you can't do it. You were going to say something?
No, I just said I think I need to be a little bit more patient.
Exactly. Very aggressive when you have the resources, very careful when you don't. Like, for example, right now, obviously you have to worry about trap, but just beat this guy, you know? That Fire Strike needs to hit.
I think I was predicting he's gonna go.
Yeah. But you can have confidence here because you have your Fire Strike, because you have full HP, because you have your pen, right? You don't need to be scared. Yeah, just beat him up. Yeah, see? Easy. Nice. Okay. So far, so good. They have a lever, the Orisa DC'd. Or no.
I think they're gonna be back.
Yeah, they're back, they're back. Support's back. Now, I don't love your positioning here. What's the problem with your positioning here?
I know what the problem is. I should be in the middle of fights, between team fights, I should be looking for high ground.
Why?
So I can drop on squishies.
Yes, right. These guys are far away over here. If you go up here or hold here, if anybody comes over here, you hit them with your hammer. If anybody comes over here, you hit them with your hammer. If anybody's on point, you hit them with your hammer. Now you can hit them with your hammer if you're on point too, but if you're up here, you can hit them on point and if they come over here, right? It just opens up your options to hit people with your hammer. And then obviously if they go put somebody on point and they start to capture the objective, you're Reinhardt, you can hold the objective, but only do that when you need to. Hey, all right. Hey, all right, let's go. You did it. No! I like the idea. Solo shattering to win a fight is totally fine. At this point in time, especially, like, look at the capture percentage, 88%.
Yeah,
exactly. If you hit this shatter, this it's over for them. It's over. Yeah, it needs to just hit.
Unlucky.
That's all right. Yeah, I made the mistake of complimenting your fire strikes and you haven't hit one since. Yes, thank you. You have enough HP, you have your pen, you have your shield, go for it. Good. Now see, look what you're doing, right? Don't go backwards. You know? Kill these guys, right? Kill these guys. Because you just forced their ice block. You're a little slow in the pen. But you just forced their ice block and you were on top of the Mei and the Junkrat. Beat him up. Screw the Winston. Let him do his thing. Nice. I mean, there's nothing else here. So I think initially, okay. Fire strikes were inconsistent. Could have been a lot better there. I think big thing was playing around your health resource, making sure that you're not getting distracted by a tank in your backline if there's squishies to hit on the front line. I think being aware that the tank is on your backline is important, right? There's a Winston on my backline. What does that mean for you, for your healing?
It means I'm not going to get too many resources.
Right.
But that also means their backline is open.
Exactly. So it's going to be about, can you put pressure out without taking too much damage? Can you hold that Mei? Can you hold that Junkrat? Even if you don't even swing in them, if you just shield them off, right? So that Winston goes in, he's like, guys, where's my follow-up? And you're just shielding off 3 people, right? That works too. So yeah. I think, but try to do that without necessarily turning around. The only time you should turn around on a tank is if you're not turning your back on anything. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, let's say there's like a Winston, Sombra, Tracer, Moira, right? And they all dive your backline. What are you going to do? Shield off the Lucio? I mean, there's nothing to shield off there. You know, there's nothing to swing on. So you might as well pin into the middle of them like bowling pins, you know, and just smash your hammer around on them. That's good Rhine peeling. But if there's something that you can hit with your hammer or shield off while there's a tank on your backline, it's generally better to do that instead. But that, and mainly playing around the resources that you had, the health that you had. Okay, any questions so far?
No.
Okay.
So the first round we kind of won easily. The second round we lost. Okay. Which is where I think I switched.
Okay. Fire strike needs to hit. That was a good fire strike. Like, see, here's the thing with fire strikes. What I would look at is, don't look at fire strikes that are like, oh, I aimed it well, it just missed. Like, if you look at this fire strike, this is a bad fire strike. You know how I know? Because it hit the wall, right? This fire strike is a
Yeah.
good fire strike because I feel like there's a pretty good chance that this was going to hit. She just juked it at the last second. I mean, look at that. Look at that. You feel like that's going to hit, right? I mean, how did that not hit? I don't even know, right? So, but that's the thing. When you have that slow of a projectile, you're not going to hit every one. But at the very least, was it reasonably aimed? Yeah. So I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. Now, you got to kind of keep awareness of what's going on over here because this is silly, right? So you're like, oh, soldier, got to swing on squishies, but even though we can't, we're kind of cheating because we can see through walls of the replay viewer, right? But soldier's not in your screen, soldier's out. What do you need to be focusing on?
I kind of expect him to be back any second, though.
That's true, and I respect that. But at the same time, it's not just somebody will be back any second now. There is somebody fighting as we're speaking right now.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to kind of play a little bit of like one of the things I always talk about with Diva players is the whack-a-mole game. You ever go to like Chuck E. Cheese or the arcade? You know, you know. Yeah. So like right now the soldier's whacked, so you know that he's gonna come back in a second. Yeah. But for right now, put your attention elsewhere.
Yeah.
Honestly, look at your HP, look at your shield. Your team is engaged. You might die for this, to be honest, but I'm actually not against this necessarily. If you got the HP for it, I'm okay for it. My only thing is you need to pin and then immediately what, if you can?
Fire strike? I'm sorry, the swing? Hammer?
Either swing or shield, one or the other. I'm thinking right now there's not a lot that you have to swing on because you missed. Okay, so that's the big thing. If you're going to pin, you got to hit the pin. But shield here and just shield, right? And if you shield, you'll keep your HP and look at the attention that you're getting right now, right?
Yeah.
And all of that is shielded. All of that is shielded. So just shield. Yeah, I'm telling you, if you shield here, this play actually works. Because look at how much damage that you took off of the swing. 450 HP. Down to
50% of my HP gone.
Oh, a lot more. Right, even more. Right, you would be almost 500 HP right now, and your team would be like, oh, thank goodness. Because look at the attention you're getting, right? The maid dies because of what you do. Watch. You see that? That's your fault. You killed her, right? Yeah. So it's really good. I actually do like the play. You just needed to shield immediately afterwards. So if you're going to go for aggressive pin, if you don't hit the pin, shield, read the situation, decide about whether you should continue shielding or swing.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So I don't hate the play though. And I think you guys even have a chance to still win it even though you're dead. Unfortunate, but you had a chance. So good play. Poorly executed. Let's put it that way. Okay, waiting for your team. I wouldn't waste the fire strike on May. I'll just swing.
Okay, yeah.
Now, what do you think here?
So I'm probably thinking the soldier is a problem.
I think so too.
Get him off.
I think so too. I think so too. Now you know that you're not going to kill him though, right? So what's the what's the exact set of cooldowns, strategy, shielding, swinging, fire striking that you're going to do in this soldier?
I will probably pin to him, and just by threatening to hit him with my hammer, he's going to run.
Right.
Is what I think is going to happen.
And then what?
And then my team has a lot more space to work with.
Okay, so what do you do next? So you pin soldier, he runs away, then what do you do?
Probably back up to my team now that they don't have two angles that they're dealing damage from.
Yep.
And work my way main.
Yep, you got it. That's it right there. So let's see if we do it. Now, obviously, we have the time to kind of slow things down and think our process is through.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's the correct play right here. So he's out, so you don't even need to pin now, right? Now, you were slow and indecisive. You should have gone immediately. You should have pinned him. You might have even got him, maybe, right, if he makes a mistake, right? But we needed to go. So the problem with that now is because we need to go now, but yet look at your shield resource.
Yeah, I'm in no man's land with no shield.
Right,
yeah.
So you need to kind of push on main now, but you don't have a lot of HP to push with, and that's kind of a problem right now. You have HP. You have a little bit of shield. Let's swing. Now, the question is are you going to be alert to what's happening on your flank? Do you see what's happened on your left now?
Yeah.
You took
The
too
soldiers
long.
retaken space.
You took too
Yeah.
long, right? So you got options here. You can either beat the crap out of this Mei, I'm okay with that, or you could pin out the soldier again, right? It's like that whack-a-mole we talked about, right? Let's see what happens. You see,
I don't think I know the soldier is back there.
and this is the mistake, right? And even here, even if you didn't know the soldier, you should be focusing on Mei, not Sigma. I know he's relatively low. Either you pin Sigma now and kill him right now, or you kill her. That's fine.
Too slow.
Too slow, but yeah. Now, again, whack-a-mole here, right? I don't mind you chasing here. Just be aware of, like, okay, if I can't kill them, it's not, I don't have to kill them. They're out. Yeah. I think it's like what you did that fight was reasonable, just a little bit too slow. A little bit too slow.
Yeah. I get that.
Fire strike. Yep, that was a good one. I would fire strike again here. Again, 2 decent fire strikes. They just didn't happen to hit. Now, I want you to see if you notice something. Do you hear that?
The Ash dying. Is that what we're looking for? Yeah.
Now, you can't stop this from happening necessarily, but it's just something to kind of keep in mind.
I think I did, which is why I moved back
soldier
here.
died. Oh my gosh, this guy is absolutely butchering you guys in the flank. Again, I don't know what you could have done necessarily, but I guess my question was, were you aware that he was there?
Yes, which is why I moved back, because I thought the Mercy might want to res.
Got it.
Which he
Okay.
did, and died trying to res.
Yeah.
Now I'm just fine dying.
Honestly, pretty good, right? You held main. They ice wall. You immediately pin out the flank. He runs. You get a kill off of that. Now we walk back on main again.
But we're down 2.
Yeah, but at this point you're just down. I think obviously the only thing here is that if your Mercy's going for res, go push forward with her. And then now just chill. I don't know why this Mei keeps ice walling.
I know.
Nice. I know you want to do it. Do it.
Yeah, of course I do.
You see it? Just go in here, pin in over here, shatter her, pin all the way over here, shatter him. Let's see what you got. Ah, no. But you see, you had the resource for it, right? You have the HP, you have the charge, you have the shatter. You see a squishy over here, you see a squishy over here. Get him, right? Play the dive tank here, right? You're too slow.
Yeah.
Need to try to block that. That's a lot of HP lost. I mean, it's a great shatter, but that should have happened 15 seconds ago. Well, not 15, but 10 seconds ago, right?
That makes sense.
You have the HP for it, you have the charge for it, you have the chatter for it. That's the resource. Go. And then now it's basically like, I appreciate what I think what you're doing again is correct. You're too low in HP, and this should have been happening way, way, way long ago.
Everything needs to be faster.
And everything needs to be a little bit faster. And I think the skill that you're missing is you're not recognizing whether you have pen, whether you have HP, and what you could do with those cooldowns. Okay? Those are the things we're looking at. I think pen, HP, shield HP, charge. Those are the big 4. Fire strikes even matter as well, right? But if I have those cooldowns, I see an opportunity to create some space to put pressure on squishies, I need to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to write that down before I forget here. And then we'll look at your RAM. So play around your resources. Whoops, resources. Can't spell. Resources. Track your HP. Pin shatter. Then take action to clear space. Present threat depending on the status of those resources. That's the big one. That's what we saw. I don't think you're playing Ryan incorrectly. I just think you're playing Ryan in a slower fashion than you need to. You have an opportunity and you miss it, right? Okay. Any questions so far?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Let's take a look at some Ramattra. I like Ramattra on this map, actually. I think, Ryan would work very well here too, but you have a little bit more space for poking, so it's good. That E is a bit blind, right? That's one of the worst things that you could do with Ramattra. This shield has purpose because it allows you to walk forward and take space without getting your head blown off, right?
Yeah.
So then your E can be used here to help you to shoot this guy more. Whoa, this guy's, you see this, is that part of the skin? You see it's, I guess it's part of the skin.
It is, yeah.
I didn't know. I've never seen that before. Wow, okay, today I learned. But then, your entire team can shoot these guys easier, right? The other thing is just to hold your E just in case anybody decides to push you, then you kill them, right? So this E does jack all. In fact, you put it between the two parties,
Yeah.
right? It's not the most powerful cooldown in the history of the game, but it's worth attention. This is bad. Good. Good.
So I was calling for my team to group up on high ground with me. Some of them did, some of them didn't.
I actually don't think that's something that you really want to have, to be honest with you. Because think about it this way. Do you see how you are discouraging them from pushing high ground, right? So then where are they going to go? Well, they're going to go here and they're going to go here. Well, then that's why you would want your Ashe or whatever to be putting from here so they can crossfire from your high ground position. Do you see that?
Makes sense. Yeah.
So let people choose their own spots, because your Ashe could group high ground here, but she might actually just die here. Like her sightline isn't, the sightline's actually better here. Maybe this is a little too far away, but she gets some nice damage from here, right? Heck, even your Moira DPS mooring from the off angle is actually pretty useful too. So this is like, is this a perfect setup? No, but this you guys have way more quote unquote map control right now. You see this?
Okay.
Yeah.
Mental readjustment made.
Yeah. You don't always want people to group up off of your push. You want people to kind of crossfire when you push, because you look at all the pressure you're putting here, and meanwhile your team is keeping this Sigma and Mei busy, right? In fact, heck, they even have to Mei wall defensively, right? So
yeah.
But good Nemesis form. This is fine. Maybe would have gone for the Mei instead of the Moira because of proximity, right? I think going for the Moira is fine, but just keep in mind, remember, it's the same thing as Ryan. Like, you kind of have to choose what's available. So, okay, let's see what we got. Solid first fight. E was bad, and by E, the vortex, right? I don't know what cooldown that is for console. I've sometimes I just say, but you know what I mean.
I speak fluent PC as well.
Okay. Terrible vortex again, right? Again, it's like if you want to put it as they walk through the choke so you could do more damage, that's great. But like that does jack all. Obviously, I assume that was accidental.
No, it wasn't. It was very deliberate, to be honest. Yeah, I thought there'd be a squishy there.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna predict the future. See if you could predict the future as well. Where are they gonna push now?
I left.
You're gonna take the space that you vacated. That's the thing with these brawl tanks, right? You're kind of fat and slow, right? Outside of these bursts of value, but you're an inker, even Sigma, right? Very difficult to push out.
Yeah.
When you give up that space, you better be. I'm not saying it's bad, but you better darn well have a good reason for it. I don't see the reason.
From what I remember recognizing that this is not the ideal place to be.
Got it.
So, and I know that I'm not going to be able to take high ground, so I think I move to the front right here.
That's probably wise. Correctly. Yeah, that's probably wise.
Yeah.
Right. As soon as you vacate it, and then now, I mean, look at it from your soldier's perspective, right? Your soldier is no longer allowed to take that angle, right? Because he can't. He's going to run to a queen, so, Good use of cover here. Good shots as well. Really like this. And because now they have crossfired you, do you see this? Because you dropped, you're screwed, right? I think going right is fine, but honestly, at this point in time, you might have to go like all the way over here, or even back all the way to here, because you have the problem with just going generally right is where's your cover here. All right.
Yeah, I wound up in the middle of nowhere.
Right. So, you have a quote unquote crossfire, but you have no cover. So it's a good nemesis form. You needed to use it, but it's a bad nemesis form because you shouldn't have put yourself in that circumstance in the first place. Use that E. You're walled. Yeah, I think you're walled. Yeah. Yeah, I just think play around your HP a little bit more. Same thing as Ryan, right? Block, 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 block. Maybe throw out a punch or two, but you got to be really careful here, you know? Like, still, look at your HP, you know? No armor, no nothing.
Yeah, I think I kind of hyper-focused on the Junker Queen who was super low.
Yeah, 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 and that's going to cost you your life. So it's the same thing as Ryan. Aggression there is fine, but maybe one punch of aggression. No way your Mercy gets away with that. Not a terrible trade. Good. So you have HP for this, right? So it actually works. Now you mess it up mechanically.
Yeah.
But you at least have the HP for it. Okay. Yeah, so big thing here so far is vortexes are getting wasted really early on no spam, no push that just does nothing. Cover usage, playing around your HP. Let's keep going. The nice thing is that, I mean, obviously the vortex, not so much, but the resource, playing around cover, that's Ryan stuff too, right? So just good fundamentals. I mean, see, this queen is making the same mistake. You see this?
Mm-hmm.
Just rotate up top. The soldier has to leave. Soldier leaves, he's now over here. And not only is that important, but remember, think of it as like the first round with the Reinhardt. We wanted you on high ground so that you could drop, right?
Yeah.
This pathing, you have to go right through the teeth to get to backline. You go here, now you can sneak up on Iliari. Soldier gets silly, you can sneak up on him. It's an alternate route, right? So I don't like the shield, and I just don't like the E, because I don't like your pathing. The shield, like maybe here would be okay, just to spam a little bit, but ultimately your goal should be to rotate to high ground. Again, for better access to backline.
Yeah. I think I probably used that shield there to try and cut off some heals to the Junker Queen, but since we weren't pushing, in retrospect, it's a waste as well.
Sure. Yeah. And this fight's a mess. I would also be really focusing again on those squishies as well. So I know you're thinking like frontline here. And obviously it's kind of scary, but remember you can't forget this guy. Because this is the guy that's going to clear up your team. Right?
And Doug.
Right.
Yeah.
He's the accessible one in the angle. Good kill. Get him out. Get him out. Nice. Now, this is the tricky one. You forced him out. So what do? Can you chase this guy all the way over here?
No.
Right. I needed you to poke him out, and you kind of did a pretty good job of it. But I don't know if you can reach him all the way over there. So what do you think? Is this the right play from you?
So I didn't even know there was a Tracer back there on my backline, but the
Hard
only
for you
one
to
I
help with
can
that, though.
reach is... Yeah, the only one I could reach is Junker Queen, so I thought of applying pressure on her.
Yeah, I think this is reasonable, right? This is what we talked about with Reinhardt, right? We would love to swing on... And you know what's kind of funny is this is kind of like where like a Reinhardt could theoretically pin on this guy, force him out, right? You don't have that. So you have to take what's available, right? You have to take what's available. Yep. And right now, the Junker Queen's available. My only nitpick here is look at this E placement, right? She's pushing forward, you put the E behind her.
Yeah.
Right?
Right, yeah.
It's gonna make it so much harder for you to hit your punches now. Case in point, right? That's a missed punch off of the missed E. Would you win this fight off of that? I don't think so. But you know what you would do? You would I promise you would kill Queen here if that E placement was better. Promise you. Look how low she is.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now, I mean, oh my gosh, you could have killed Queen. You would have lived because no Queen damage. You could then shield. They push you. Your Mercy pockets you. You pop your ultimate. You clutch and everyone cheers. Right? It's just the little things, right? It's just the little things that are killing you. And then she goes for the res again. Shockingly, that doesn't work. This Mercy refuses to say no to resing. And then now you don't have time to clear high. You just got to go.
Again, going for whatever is...
Of course, right? Of course. I think it's fine. Good focus the turret. That puts it on a nasty cooldown for her. It's like really hard for her to reapply it now. Okay. Reasonable. Retake top left. right? Hold that space, anchor it. Ah, see, you got to go, because look
Yeah,
immediately he's up
yeah,
here, right?
yeah,
And look at your poor backline now. Like, look at your poor backline. Let's see it from his perspective, right? Moira has to use Fade. Mercy dies. You know, this is on you. And at the same
yeah.
time,
Final fight there, three.
what? Okay, so there's all you can't be everywhere all at once, right? But let's see what space are you controlling from this side. This queen isn't a problem to your team right now. Now, if you were over here
Yeah,
and you stopped Zen flanking onto your backline, you know,
yeah,
maybe,
perhaps.
but there's
That
nothing. There's nothing here, right? You're stopping a queen from walking onto point and doing what, right? This is what's threatening to your team. This angle, this space here. So you need to be there, and that also will allow you to again present a threat to kill their squishies more. Whereas here, again, who can you punch other than queen?
nobody. No.
Nobody. There is
Yeah.
nobody there. So. And this is why Ram and Ryan are hard on maps like, think Dorado, right? Where like they could be on high ground, they could be all over the maps, right? But in maps like these, there's no excuse. Maps like these, you can get to them. Thank you. Better late than never. Drop the E, punch him in the face.
From the
And
macro view, I can
there it
see
is.
how easily that space is being taken when I'm not there.
Exactly. And it's funny because you actually did a better job of it on Ryan than you did on Ram. Maybe it was just a smaller sample size, so we don't really know. It's just one game. But I think you did a better job. Now, this is great, right? Even if the soldier doesn't die, if he runs away, well, he's no longer a threat. You get healing, you go back, and then now you kill their backline. This is great. Nice job. Did you hear that voice line? He goes, that was satisfying. Is that a win? That's a W, yeah?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I mean that play right there, you killing the soldier probably won you guys this game. Like I said, better late than never. And the funny thing is, actually, I definitely think that's the case because look at his ult. You guys were dead if you'd stayed on point. Because overtime, right? Got to stay on point. Nope, you would have lost. Nice job, but obviously some stuff to work on. Now we have more time here. If you want to look at a little bit of another code.
I don't think I have one.
That's okay. Here's what we'll do. Let me type up my notes, and I'll tell you what we can do with our time. So Ram. I actually need to clarify that our previous point here. Can you see our Discord here, chat? The little thing the notes I'm putting here.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So Ram, what did you see with Ram? There's a couple of things. So what did you see?
E usage needs to be much better.
Vortex.
Holding high ground a lot more.
Have a purpose with using your vortex, either to slow people to punch or slow them to shoot. You wasted it in early for meaningless. Wasted it early that gave you no poke, and misplaced it in brawl situations. So I think, like, remember when we talked about like your E over here, your vortex over here with the Junker Queen, right? It was a good E. You just missed it, right? First fight, your E's over here, retake, your E's over here. They were not good E's. You didn't miss it. You just trolled it, right? It was just bad, right?
Yeah.
So I think for you, it's a little bit of mechanics, a little bit of decision making with your vortex, okay? And then the other thing we're saying as well about holding space. Sorry, go ahead.
Holding high ground. That's it.
Hold high ground.
Because I can see the value of denying high ground, and that soldier got a lot of value because I wasn't there.
Right. Now, let's be very careful about just saying hold high ground, just hold high ground, right? Like, think about, like, again, let's go back to our example earlier, the Dorado, second point. Let's say that you are attacking. Are you going to be able to always go all the way and clear out the high ground? Are you going to have time or the resources to do that? Right. So
I don't think so.
So then what's the solution?
The solution would be, if it's convenient, I should make my way to high ground if I have the time.
Yes.
Because there's that mega on the far left, which leads to a stairwell. If I'm close to that, perhaps I could take high ground.
Sure. Like up behind them, yeah.
Yeah.
But what if it's not convenient? Then what's the solution?
Then I push up to the next corner.
Yeah.
and use cover and hold some space.
Sure. The thing is like if you can't directly clear out somebody on a position, you need to try to position to where that position is less helpful. Let's say you were, I don't know. Let's say that the floor is on fire and you can't go up here, right? For whatever reason, there's a
Yeah.
wall here, you can't get through it. Okay. Then you as Ramattra do not want to be playing here because that's where the people on high ground can shoot you for free. So then where would you position instead?
Further back on the left.
Sure, further back and left. Honestly, like even like hug underneath, like try to hide, right? Like you would really like
Yeah.
if you can't push contest the high ground, try to position where the high ground has less value. But remember, as Ram, Ryan, whatever, if you can hold that space, not just do you deny the enemy team from taking it, but remember, it's easier for you to get to squishies from here.
Yeah.
Remember that first fight rollout in Reinhardt, right? You rolled out perfectly. They ran right to point. You were able to either drop on their tank or drop on their Mei. You were able to zone their Junkrat and Ilyari, force them to play back. It was perfect. You won first fight off of your rollout. That was, I mean, it was really, really good, to be honest with you. So more of that. Okay. So I think that's mostly it. Do you have any questions?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, so here's what I want you to do, especially because we're ending a little bit early.